All right, everyone. This morning I saw that our favorite propagandist from the legacy media had been tweeting about the Warski stream last night involving Baked Alaska. Now, apparently there was some drama with Baked the other day. I honestly don't know. And so the stream was, there was some, it seemed like bad blood in the blood sports, maybe. Which is like, I've warned people, don't take it beyond the realm of it is funny to argue and insult one another. That's hilarious. When it gets beyond that into actual bad feelings, you can have a problem. We have to steel ourselves together, at least to some degree. Even if we disagree with one another and debate, because that drives audience, we have to be able to stand together, though, at the end of the day against the lame stream, because the lame stream has a lot more money than we do. We have a bigger and more active fan base. It's growing. We've got the wind at our back and every advantage, but we don't have nearly as much money and can't pressure ad firms to destroy people quite so easily. So they do their dirty deeds whenever possible. But I thought it was funny, because the legacy media's line against the alt media, and this goes on for entertainment too. You'll remember the first hit piece that started it all was against PewDiePie, of all people, from the Wall Street Journal. The same dude that then attacked myself, BP Earthwalked, and Alex Jones with his last article. His first claim to fame was attacking PewDiePie, and yet he's considered lamestream and credible enough to get hired by, I guess, the New York Times. So that should tell you something about the legacy media and how it's basically a combination of how shitty can you be to other people and thus get a lot of clickbait going, or it's nepotism. That's how they tend to work. How partisan can you be? How interesting can you make an otherwise stupid article that's not even true? How many people can you antagonize into spreading the story? That's why I'm part of the archive everything movement. I think everything from the legacy media, you should slap it into an archival before you share it to anybody. I know it's an extra step. It takes 10 seconds of your life. It's not a big problem. But it's bipolar, the way that they treat us. Because one day, they'll be writing a story about how extremists on YouTube are going to win and your children will be Nazis, or, blood sports is led by, the new Himmler or something. They'll be saying something totally off the wall, some extremely hyperbolic claim about the power of an individual YouTuber or blogger or Facebook page or something, and how they're going to convince millions of people to take up arms and start purging other people, or how dangerous it is, or we need to do something to suppress these people because they're violent and filled with hate. But they're also childish and can't organize, and it's just a fuckfest, basically. That's essentially what it boiled down to. So you get the same person who, on any other day is saying, well, this... look at this hate-filled extremist YouTuber and that hate-filled extremist YouTuber. And usually they're like a MAGA populist, or they're center-left, but they're not far left enough on some important issue, some arbitrarily chosen issue, so they're a problem. They're Nazi because of that. They're total fascist, literal Hitler. But they don't matter in the same breath. So we matter when we can be targeted, when we can be suppressed. Otherwise, we're inconsequential, and it's back to 2014 and before, back when that was the only line that the establishment used. They never targeted any YouTubers prior to the 2016 election. They just considered YouTube a joke. Now all of a sudden they realize it has actual political oomph, actual political sway in some respects. Oh God, but it's really about this. It's really about money. Here's the thing, we always have to remember that it's fundamentally about the fact that we are more efficient, we are growing faster, we have younger audiences, we're more fun to listen to, and we are outcompeting them. We are outcompeting the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Fox News, Breitbart. It doesn't matter whether it's, left wing, right wing, they're all rich people, they're all corporations. That's the one thing, they have a lot in common. They're all corporate. Almost all of them are run by parent firms that are worth even more. So you've got a multi-million-dollar company with six-figure salaried pundits being run by a multi-billion-dollar multinational parent firm with seven-figure salary figures in the boardroom and some dude with 9 figures in his salary who runs the whole show. That's essentially where a lot of people get their truth from. There's not a whole lot of truth in it. Now, I wonder, is this multi-billion-dollar corporation actually interested in feeding you the truth, or are they interested in deploying a little bit of propaganda here and there to try to convince you some law that's going to negatively impact them is a bad idea on some moral level? that something that they want, something that'll make them $1 billion extra bucks is a good idea. The breakdown of globalism, you think multinational corporations want that? There's a reason why the right and left fundamentally agree within DC that populism is a bad thing. Looking out for the interests of like an American worker is racism to them. There's a reason for that. It's because it would break down the economic situation that's allowed them to create a situation where 1% of the world's population has 99% of the wealth. I wonder how that happened. I thought that the liberality was growing and progressivism was winning. And despite the fact that nations can be like far left and socialistic, they have the same problem. Oh, I wonder how that happens. In so-called, Maduro, he has considerably more wealth than the average Venezuelan. How does this happen? Far left, far right, so again, so-called on both ends. It always seems to have the same ultimate impact. Even in North Korea. Or Russia. And some people say, oh, Russia fights globalism. Now, fucking Putin's a multi-billionaire. He's one of the richest people in the world, especially considering the fact that he can nationalize and seize anything he wants in the nation of Russia, and in some other countries too, at a whim. He can do whatever he's a dictator. He can do whatever he fucking wants. Some people think that's a good thing. I happen to think that it makes him a lot like any other, so-called Western politician. A lot like Jinping or Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel acts with impunity. They've nationalized all of Germany at this point. There are no citizens in Germany. They're told what they can and cannot say. Therefore, they're told what they can and cannot believe. Here's another thing. If you can control what people say and what people hear said, you can control what they think. And that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal for the corporations themselves that call themselves the media and complain whenever they're bullied by evil Trump or something. These same groups, they are in it for the money. They just want to fuck around with YouTubers and suppress, alt tech. They want to suppress people on Twitter. They're bullying or they say the wrong thing, believe the wrong thing. They want more censorship online for money reasons. Those pulling the strings even ahead of them, who are even above and beyond the legacy media and partnered with it. It's not a master-servant relationship. It's more like a little reciprocity. That is, CNN washes the Clinton campaign's feet. Clinton stoops down and gives him a reach around. That's basically how it works in Hollywood, in DC, on Wall Street, everywhere else, in Qatar, in Cyprus, wherever, the Cayman Islands, wherever Mitt Romney stores his money next, essentially. Beyond that, it's about controlling people's minds. You can control people's minds if you can control communication. The fact is that most human communication now takes place online. If you can therefore successfully deploy the right kind of censorship on enough of just the big sites, you can basically control the world. Because you can prevent people from ever hearing about or believing in things you don't want them to believe in. It's the most effective form of totalitarianism. It's a kinder, gentler fascism, after a sense. Private companies, not constrained by any national constitution, are used to gobble up all human communication and then can censor it. Governments can't do that directly so effectively, but the companies can. It's very, very simple for them to do so. And so Angela Merkel and David Cameron and Obama and all these people want them to do so they can control their subjects' minds. They're trying to convert citizens into subjects here all the time. It's just another greedy, manipulative way in which to do so. And the corporate media. Some of these people, so I wonder if some of the smaller time pundits on the smaller old guard media sites even realize that this is going on and who they're fighting on behalf of, who they're working for. I wonder if they even know that, or I wonder if they know and they don't care because they're getting money, or if they're just blissfully ignorant of this situation. They actually think that they're fighting an ideologically based war against people who are actually extremists, rather than simply trying to promulgate worldwide oppression in order for their taskmasters to make and keep more of the world's wealth without a worldwide rebellion on their hands. I wonder if they understand that sometimes. So then you get weird bipolar treatments of YouTube, like, basically Holt or somebody will make the statement like Sticks doesn't matter, he's got like too big an ego, he doesn't, mean anything, he's just an asshole, basically. But then also at the same time, I have to have constant hit pieces about me made by a Mashable or a Wall Street Journal or a BuzzFeed, because apparently I do matter and I'm basically, compared to Alex Jones. That's the way that they work. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. When things don't make sense is usually a reason why. It's because their attacks are bullshit. It's because the hit pieces are bullshit. All of their claims are bullshit. They don't have a greater understanding, I think, of the world of communication. It's, again, it's just like people in the normie part of culture who gobble down this stupid line of, well, it's okay if a private corporation censors things because it's the Constitution only applies to the government. Okay, it's legal for them to do so. You know, that's in a roundabout way. That's not 100% actually true. Publicly traded companies and so forth. It gets murky, legally speaking. But let's just argue devil's advocate here. Okay, it's legal. Is it a moral thing to do? Is it a pragmatic thing to do? Is it good for the economic situation of the site? Is it good for the health of the site? Is it part of the spirit of being part of the West to be censored in the main form of human communication? That's what it's about. It's not about legalism. They're trying to make a straw man argument about whether it's legal or not. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, is it a good idea? Should your conscience not sting if you're attempting to suppress millions of people, whether or not you are a private company or a government entity? That's what it's about. So the establishment that can barely even use the internet half the time is a little bit like when Zuckerberg was giving testimony to Congress. Not a great example because Zuckerberg himself is very rich, you know, and crazy, and he's pro-censorship too, although he doesn't want too much because then Facebook would dry up and die. There are limits. Even the big tech authoritarians have a limit to which they will not exceed unless they're forced to. You have a bunch of 70 and 80-year-old dudes questioning Mark Zuckerberg. They probably don't even know how to turn their phone on. They have to have a staffer make their tweets for them. A staffer manages the YouTube page. A staffer manages their website. They don't know anything about coding. They don't know, they couldn't even program a TI-83 calculator, let alone figure out how a website works. And yet these are the people responsible for making like government policy towards the tech industry. It's so asinine the way that we're doing this. There should be a techno-meritocratic council or something that handles that policy. Guess what? It'd be a hell of a lot more libertarian than Congress, and certainly far more than the establishment media apparatus. You know, these people, they're used to like cable era bullshit. They're used to being able to put on a suit, put on their hair plug, and they get 7 figures to read a teleprompter. But their era is ending. That's not interesting to watch. No, what people want to watch is like blood sports or interesting content online made by independent, normal individuals. That's why it's interesting. It's more entertaining to see some random person speak about a topic. It doesn't have to be 100% true. Look, what you're getting from CNN is usually 100% false. Like their WikiLeaks claim, oh, don't read it because it's illegal. You know, that's bullshit. It's willful lying half the time. The rest of the time, it's at best a half-truth. That's essentially what you get with cable or newsprint. Even the missing link media, like some of these, like a Salon or something, they're hit or miss as to whether what they say is accurate. BuzzFeed's article about me even misconstrues its own source. It uses an improper source and then misquotes it. It's ineptitude. I don't understand how people could possibly take that bullshit seriously. Yet some of them, a small and shrinking number, but some people actually do. And it's funny to dickwag after them because it's like, yeah, okay, in 5 years, let's see what the respective audience of these people writing hit pieces are compared to those they're writing them on. I'm going to side with the latter being considerably larger and having totally outmaneuvered the former. That's about all. Peace out.